When the Israelis couldn't beat Hezbollah in 2006, they didn't have a problem with spotters. And when we tried to bomb Vietnam to the Stone Age in the 1960s with Rolling Thunder, we didn't have a problem with spotters. Spotters aren't the issue. The issue is, can you and are you willing to send in hundreds of thousands of troops? Do you think this country wants to do that? Do you think we even want to spend the money to do that? We're living under a strange thing called a sequester. Somebody was asked on television, what's a sequester? And he answered, it's the capital of Portugal. People don't even know what a sequester is. But what it's done is limit our spending. And you talk to Secretary of Defense Carter, and he rightly says he's being constrained all over the place. The president says it. So where are we going to find the money, even if we had the will, which I don't think we have, to go and fund all these troops, or even to do what Philip says? All the things you want to give these folks, let's assume they don't fall into ISIS's hands. Where are we going to find the money for it? Do we have the will? Do we have the money? Do we have the staying power for that kind of thing? The only way you're going to stop these guys is if indeed they rot from within. That's the only alternative if you're not going to send hundreds of thousands of troops in. And to get them to rot from within, you have to contain them. You've got to keep them cooped up. And there are ways to do that. But we're not even in one mind as to how to right now. Yes, we love the Kurds, but we don't arm them. Yes, we want to work with the Turks, except the Turks have a different agenda. They want to bomb the Kurds, who we like. I mean, you need a scorecard to figure out who exactly is on your side. How do you beat these people that way? The bottom line is, unless we have a coherent major military strategy, the real alternative, when you parse out all the stuff about what we can do right now, the real alternative is to keep them cooped up, to arm our friends, to figure out how to train those who will fight. And yes, the Sunnis might fight, but guess what? They haven't fought till now. We've been begging them for years. Saudi Arabia is fighting, except not in Syria, not in Iraq. They're fighting in Yemen. And they're not doing that hot a job there either. So we have to figure out how to motivate those we want to work with us, and that's going to take time. And what do we do in the meantime? We've got to contain ISIS for as long as possible. And if we could beat the Soviet Union, I wouldn't bet the family farm against our beating ISIS. Thank you. Resources, $500 million to train 60 people. That's a tremendous payout.
Because we wouldn't fight Assad. That's why we could attract no recruits.
Okay, so do you want to fight Assad? Now you want to fight a two-front war.
We've
you
said
want to fight
you
Assad,
have to settle the Syrian civil war.
You want to fight both sides. That's great. Well, I hope we figure out which side we shoot at
that's
first.
How you bring
Hang
the
on.
Sunni coalition
Hang
together.
On. You want to put first of all, how much money should we fund the Saudis, whom we want to fight for us? I mean, last time I checked, they weren't going around with a tin cup.
That's not what we're arguing, Dev.
So it's not the Saudis, and it's not the Emiratis, it's just these people themselves. Again, how did the Iraqi army that we were training, and we poured billions into these guys, what a great job they did. So they weren't fighting for their homes, you say. Okay, what do you think would happen if we poured billions into the Sunnis in Iraq? Do you think the central government will let us? They won't even let us pour money into Kurdistan. So you really think they're going to let us pour money into the Sunnis? And one other thing, you're making the assumption, and you've said it, the Sunnis are appalled. I don't know that the Sunnis are appalled. I know that English-speaking Cambridge and Oxford educated Sunnis are appalled. Absolutely right. I will not quarrel with you. But how many people are funding these guys? This is just like the Canadian IRA funding.
So
the Canadian IRA funding.
It's just you get to an argument where, like, frankly, it's a tangle. It's just so hard. They're so mixed up. Let's just leave them be, and it'll be okay.
We're not saying leave them be. And even if you
we
want
won't
to applaud, we're still not saying leave them be.
When this region disintegrates, you don't think we'll be called back in? Do you think the day after 1,000 Americans are killed in a mass casualty attack, that you're going to go to the President of the United States and just tell him doing more about it is too hard?